It's official. The Commanders shutting down Jayden Daniels. His sophomore season is over. Having started in 7 games, Marcus Mariota will end up playing in 10, assuming he can stay healthy and finish this thing out. For Washington, the Commanders will have gone 2-5 in those 7 games for Jayden Daniels. His completion percentage going from 69% to 60% on the season. Rating dropping from a little over 100 to a little over 88. QBR from 67 to 45. It was clearly a step backwards, driven mostly by health, mostly by injuries. They just never could get everybody on the same page. They never had weeks of practice together in the offseason, all together in camp. They shut him down all but for 4 plays in the preseason because they didn't need the work and he didn't need the work.
Yeah.
And then in the regular season from week 2 on, he was chasing health. He got hurt against Green Bay. He was out and came back. He comes back and gets hurt against Dallas. He's out. He comes back. Then he comes back and gets hurt against Seattle. He's out and he comes back and eventually gets hurt against Minnesota. All told, in the 14 games prior to this past week that they had played, he had either been injured in or missed entirely 11 of those 14 games. Like there were 3 games where he played and finished a game with any semblance of health.
Yeah, that's the story, right? Is that. Now, the story of the year is injuries, but the 1A, of course, is the guys that they were counting on who weren't injured, didn't play very well either. And you combine those two things, you get the season that they've had. But to Daniels specifically, it's one of those things where it should not be this way. And we all want the same thing. We want him to play football and play really well. The reality that is what you just said. He has started and completed 3 games this year. The pattern as it emerged over the second half of the season would be we'd wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks sometimes. We'd do is he going to miss the mark? He's going to return to play. He's going to meet all the metrics. And we're going to find our North Star. And we're going to hit all the marks, et cetera. He'd play. He'd get injured. He'd have to leave the game. And we'd do the same thing for another month. And at a certain point, it sounds like a conversation happened above Dan Quinn. That's my best working guess right now. I know it's yours too.
Well, my theory that I brought you last week, and I said if he gets shut down, because if you remember, my point was he's going to get shut down on Monday if this theory is correct. They'll come out after the game and say they're shutting him down. I now feel 100% adamant about this. This was not a Dan Quinn call, in my opinion. This was above him. I think this was Peters or Harris or both, probably both, but certainly an Adam Peters call, whose job is not just to focus on these 3 weeks, but the 3 years out in front with the rest of this contract. And I believe that this was dictated to Dan Quinn. You could even hear it in his first answer when they're talking about shutting him down. He literally covered his bases and went back and said, you guys know, I think the game reps are the most important reps, but we'll get him some work this way too. He's still telling you that playing football is the best way to make this guy get back to being Jayden Daniels, to get him the reps that he needs. He's acknowledging that even today. But the shift happened last week. We played the clips back to back. We let you hear them. From Friday, now 10 days ago, to Wednesday last week. It was like 2 different people answering the same question. Are you considering shutting him down? Would he benefit from being on the field? The answers were completely different. The tone changed.
Yeah, so something
obvious.
happened.
Somebody said to him, hey, man, just so you know, he ain't playing again this year.
This feels like an intervention. And again, they're able to hide behind. It sounds like so nefarious. I don't mean it to be, but they're able to use as a barrier to any further questioning. He wasn't cleared medically. You know what I mean? So that's a key point. That's a key moment. Now, cleared medically on Monday usually doesn't mean squat.
Exactly.
It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, this is a shorter week. It's a Saturday game, but come on.
By
Everybody
the way,
knows.
If they had a playoff game this past weekend, would he not have played?
I think he would have.
He would have found a way. They would have cleared him medically, I bet you. If they had a playoff game this weekend, would he play? Now, they would say he's not cleared medically. He wouldn't be cleared medically for these games if they were playoff games. I'm not sure that I buy that necessarily. Not when you told me he could have gone back into the game.
Right.
Not when he tried to go back into the game on that Sunday. I just don't believe this idea that he can't get medically cleared. But let's just say it's true, that he didn't have a setback, that there is no serious injury, that nothing happened other than some soreness and some swelling, and somehow 8 days later, he is still unable to be cleared. Okay, let's just say that that's true. To your point, I know you have a Saturday game short week, and it's not looking good, but you wouldn't make the call right now on Monday, rather.
On Monday.
You wouldn't even make the call on Wednesday or Thursday.
So, but they get to hide behind the Yeah, he's not medically cleared for this week, and then it's a short week, so yeah, it's medical.
By the way, if he's medically cleared on Monday, he could play Thursday against Dallas.
And there you go. But he also gives away the game to a degree when he says he's going to practice. Now, this, by the way, it sounds like I'm upset about it. This is actually exactly what I would do right now. I would say he still needs the practice reps. I don't care about Mariota getting starter reps. Let Daniels throw to McLaurin, throw to
he's not going.
whoever.
He's not getting first team reps.
Well, you know what I mean? Just let him practice. I would practice. I would practice him more and let Mariota get just enough to stay sharp. But for the most part, I'm letting Daniels get as much work as possible without the game injury risk. But he's going to practice, even though he's not cleared for contact.
What does that mean, by the way? He's going to go out there and stand there and do some quarterback drills where he does high legs on the little ladder ropes, and then he's going to throw the ball into the net when they record the practice clips.
Yeah, that's the limited part.
That's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's going to be limited in practice. He ain't getting first-team reps over Marcus Mariota, who's preparing for a football game. That's not going to happen.
Not early this week, certainly, but as down the stretch, I'm hoping that he does get some.
That would make no sense. I don't think that's going to happen.
Perfect sense to me because I care about him. I don't care about Mariota.
But they don't have a game in August or in January or February. I don't see him getting first-team reps. I think they're just saying we're not shutting him down all purpose where he's not back on a field.
Right. So
he's going to be out there jogging around doing limited practice work.
Yeah, so I would practice him and not play him. I think, and so we're getting to that,
which is
to
what
that point.
They'll do.
Yeah, which is what they're doing. So I like that. But it's sort of, I don't know, there's a degree of the standard issue double talk that we now kind of come used to, where you have to kind of parse it up and look for certain clues to figure out what's really going on. And it kind of screams to what we're both talking about here. We're getting back to it. Is I think Dan Quinn thinks one thing. I think this has now either been dictated or it's group. They decided this is how they're going to go. And it's not exactly what meets the eye. This isn't totally health. This isn't totally a shutdown, or it's like everything's kind of in between. But the end result is he's not playing the rest of the year.
He can say whatever he wants. This is a shutdown.
Yeah.
That's what this is. They are shutting the player down. I don't even think it's him wanting to, but it is happening. Rip anybody, anytime, anywhere off the wall because it ain't a thing. Anybody, anytime, anywhere until someone tells you not to. This is a shutdown. That's what is happening right now. There's no such thing as this being a health decision where he's being ruled out of a football game that is still 20 days away or 3 weeks away from right now, with what you're saying, not me, you are saying is a very small setback, a very limited injury, something that will heal fairly quickly. You're basically saying, by the way, that this second injury would cost him more time to recover than the first one when he actually dislocated the elbow. Basically, it'd be that many days away from when he got hurt against Minnesota to play in the final game almost as the original injury with Seattle. So either you're lying about the second injury, which I don't think they are, or someone just told you, hey, man, there's barely any important football to be played here. We're going to evaluate a couple of kids. There's 3 games to go. Shut the player down. There's nothing to see here. I think that's where we are at this point. We'll check in with one of the members of the Commanders beat. We'll get a national perspective on our Beltway Blitz as well. Huge news here. We'll get to your calls in just a few, so line them up. 800-636-1067. Jayden Daniels being shut down for the rest of the season by the very Commanders staff that said for weeks that he needed to play to get reps because that was the only way to get him right. You're listening to The Fan.